Hey, my name is Rio Waller, and you are enrolled in CIT 15 Computer Concepts at Fresno City College. Whew, how many more qualifiers do we need? Oh, yeah, 100% online. Oh, yeah, one even more important, this is a 9 week, 3 unit class. So normally I teach this class in the 18-week format. Now, here's the thing I want you to know right off the bat is that this should be fun. Like computers, studying computers is really fun. I totally love it. And I love the really broad stuff we get to talk about in this class. But the other thing I was going to say is that I want you to know that this class is going to cover everything an 18-week class would, but it's going to do it in 9 weeks. So normally, and I'll get into more of the course structure in here in a minute, but normally my students who are taking this class in an 18-week semester have one due date a week and they have a couple items. So what does this mean for you? This means two due dates a week with multiple items due for each one. Now, these compressed classes are great if you're ready. If not, that you can get behind quickly. So I just don't want you to do this, which is part of the reason I released the course early. So we are actually in, I think, the second week of September when I'm recording this now. When you watch this, of course, will vary. Some of you will get right in, check it out, know what you need to do, which is great. Some of you may wait until the start of the fall semester for this class. So that's actually on October 11th. Okay. So that's why I release it early, is so that you have a heads up. You can see how the course is structured. You can see what's required from the course material. I have the first and the second week set up for you to look at. You do not have to start before the start of the semester. It's just not required. But if you want to, you can. Okay. So we're all online. I've been teaching online for a little while. I actually help teach other teachers how to do this. So I really enjoy the online environment. I really try to lean into it. Okay. So in this first video, I just want to highlight the course structure. I want to talk about that all important, what's required from a course materials perspective. What do the weeks look like? How to communicate with this class. I've given some new options that you may not or you may have been exposed to. So I'll talk about that. So what I'm going to do first is look down at my keyboard so I can see my hotkeys so I can move over to the course. So here it is. Here's the course as it's set up in Canvas right now. And one thing right off the bat you can see is that there's the item that you're watching that this video is located in is the start here. And this is your attendance video. And I have some items that I'll go over that is covered here. But what you can see from the course perspective is that you need to complete this before you can take a look. And it even tells you on each one what you need to do. So you have to submit this one and then it opens up the next one. Okay, and a few of these are view. Now there's some really important information. I think it is all important, but of course that's because I set it up. You'll how to register with the course materials, and you'll have what you need to do for reading this week, and then you have your graded assignments. Okay, so, and then these are intended that you do in sequence, right? You do one and then you do the next. And here's the other thing, you can't get to week 2 until you finish week 1. Okay. Some items are contribute, some items are submitted, like a chapter quiz. And this Windows 10 is part of the My IT lab that's required. Okay. So let's just actually click into here. Since you're already here, you see this content. Some of it I've already talked about, right? That this is a 9 week class. That'll be one of the what I want you to actually reply here with is that you understand that. And that would be just helping you get on the right foot, started on the right foot for this class. Okay, so let's talk about for a moment the required materials. In week one, I cover the My IT Lab. So you'll see actually in a couple more items here, but just to give you that update, if I right click on syllabus, and this syllabus is always good to check out, you can see a breakdown of how the class is graded. You can see some information about me. Really, it's best to communicate with me through Canvas. I'll talk about kind of the different systems in a minute. Because we're all online, all of my office hours are done through Zoom. Here's the times I'm available. Okay. And if you scroll down, what you'll see is this My IT Lab. Okay. So, this My IT Lab, and it's $79 if you buy it directly from the website, which I recommend. It's not that I'm telling you not to use the big bookstore, but in this case, it just costs less. So, there's a video in here showing you how to set up your My IT Lab. There is a trial account that you can check out if you want. Okay, just make sure you do that. So, missing 2 weeks in this class, which really, if you think about it, 2 weeks in a 9 week class is like 4 weeks. So, just keep that in mind. Here are the holidays we have, and that's the other thing is we have Thanksgiving during this time. So, you can see if you wanted to scroll even further, I have some information about accommodations if you need them, grading, how that's all done. But anytime you take a class, it is good to look over the course, okay, syllabus. And then below this is where I've laid out the course materials, which or the course structure, which I'll talk about in a minute. So check that out. But really, the reason I came in here was to give you the My IT Lab link, which was up higher. I got to scroll back up. Anyway, it was in there. See, now I have to scroll back down. There it is. Okay. That's the other thing is this My IT Lab is not recommended to be run on tablets or smartphones. And I know that's not necessarily good news for some of you because you may be depending on that. I just want you to know that it is really best to do it on on full desktop devices. Some of it may not work on a Chromebook. I have to say I've had pretty good luck with a Chromebook, but there are going to be for the simulation test where you have to have the full Word, Excel. And access, which I'll talk more about as we get through the course. So let me go ahead and close this, come back to here. All right. So that's the course required materials. When are you going to need it? Week one. There's items in here in week one, and your first due date for this week is February 14th. Okay. I don't recommend waiting until then just because I want to have you get a good start. Okay, so there's three systems for our class, and I just want you to know kind of how to use them, right? So this Canvas is the one that we're in now, which is where all of the course instruction and all of the place you submit work is located. Even with the My IT Lab that I just talked about, you still do the work in My IT Lab and then you post your work in here, and I have video on that to help you. Sorry. My office hours. My office hours that I showed you that are listed in the syllabus are done in Zoom. Okay. And Zoom is a great way for you and I to connect to where if you need some support, you want to ask me about something. Zoom is a great place to do that because it's like your office hours on campus, but done through online services. And I'm guessing most of us have heard about Zoom. Now, in addition to that, I run a Discord server to allow student to student conversation, and I participate in that. But the primary purpose of this is for you to ask, like questions you might ask of your fellow classmates in a regular class or whatever. So I have a link here. It is not required. It is suggested because there are going to be times, and I'll just tell you this right now, is that my schedule and your schedule may not always jive. I'm an early morning work, finish around 6 and I'm done. I'm not up late, I'm not on the weekend, so there may be times that you're working that I'm not. And I want to give you a way to ask other people who might have worked ahead questions, or just in general to be interacting with students in this class and also students who have taken my classes before. So, again, consider joining the Discord community. You do, once you join, need to ask me, and there's a place to do this inside of Discord. There's a start here for Fresno City College students, and then you just ask me to add you into the Discord channel for this class. Okay. So, yeah, I'll try to, if I see you come in, I'll try to do that, but just tell me, hey, I'm from CIT 15. Would you add me? And also, the tutor for this semester is also going to be on the Discord. So that's great. Okay. So let's talk just for a minute. And I'm going to, for a second here, leave the course. Actually, no, I think I'll stay here because I want to come back and talk about this. But let me do this. I'm actually going to open up another Canvas. Oh, yeah, I have to leave it anyway. Okay, never mind. I have to leave it anyway. And what this is that I look at Canvas from a student perspective. And what I want to show you is just how the weeks are scheduled, are laid out, right? So this is your week one. You're doing the start here. And then when you hit next, there's going to be some things to view. There is some adult language in this one, so if this offends you, just skip it and move ahead. This one is way important because it talks about that My IT Lab in more difference, or in more detail. In this case, you want to check this out. Definitely check this out. I love this video, by the way. This first one, I watched it again before I did this, and I really love what this has to say because I think it's true for so many things in life. Okay, so then there's some required, the required reading for this week, which is in the My IT Lab. So that's the other thing, is that when you set up My IT Lab, and I want you to know this, is that that's where you take chapter quizzes. That's where you do the My IT Lab work. Okay, so these two items, right? So sorry, the ebook. So there's an ebook inside of here, and I talk about the My IT Lab, where to find it. So, in order, if you're using the ebook, which most of you will, you find that in My IT Lab. So, it's not that it, you take this chapter quiz in there, it's that the ebook is in there to help you. Okay. And then the Windows 10 is actually done. It's a simulation to show you how to navigate some of the basic Windows 10 is done in My IT Lab. And then in here, I will have some video showing you how to approach this, how to post it. So it's important. These two videos in here are important from that perspective. Okay. So this is your first week's work. And so in this case, it's kind of not a real week because starting in week two, you really see this to be true. And let me show you this from a calendar perspective. Okay. Because I think this is kind of where it starts to really hopefully sink in, and maybe not in a bad way, but as you can see, I'm actually recording this early, so I'm going to roll the schedule forward just to show you. So the semester starts here, right? Your first items that I just talked about are here. Yes, this is when you're going to need the course material. And then starting the following week, you have a Monday night list of items and a Thursday night list of items. Okay. So now one of these is the attendance post. And I will do that at the end of this first week because at that point, actually, I record it here. But you can actually work ahead without me doing attendance because I want to give students that ability if they want it. But as you can see, starting thereafter, it every week is really 2 weeks. I know I'm repeating myself, but in a regular semester. Okay. So I just want you to know that is true from a scheduling perspective. And again, we really hit that stride into week two, and we keep that stride all the way to the end because this is a short term compressed course with all the course material from prior. Okay, so in week two, I'll talk about this more in my overview video when I do it, but there's some fun topics. Self driving cars, something I have experience with, so I get to talk about that a little bit. But in this first week, you're going to introduce yourselves. You're going to take the chapter quiz. You're going to do the Windows 10 simulation. So here's the other thing. I don't recommend doing all these in one night. but I can't force you. I can only recommend. I don't think we should be, and let me just come back here for a minute. I don't think we should be forcing you, but I want to give you a structure and a recommendation as you start into this class. Because there's 3 items per due date, I don't recommend doing them all in one sitting, okay? I recommend you schedule out yourself to do something on here's if it was me, this is how I'd do it, is I would schedule to do something and maybe 2 things each day. Then I would feel a little better about the anxiety that may come when you look at the amount of work. Here's the other benefit. If you submit work early, I grade every morning. Okay, every morning I grade. Of course, the morning after a due date, I grade, but I grade every morning. And what that means is if you're submitting early and you miss something, I'm going to give you the heads up. You can resubmit. So I'm trying to give you encouragement for working ahead, okay? Because there's all kinds of benefits. I can only speak for myself that when I work ahead on something, I feel better. My anxiety level comes down. I know I'm on track. I know I can kind of let go and enjoy whatever it is I'm doing next. So, you know, you got to find the stride that works for you. That's the truth. But computer concepts, we're going to cover so many different topics in this class. We're going to cover, of course, a little bit of Office, not a little bit, but Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access, the database. Now, I'm going to talk about this for you Mac folks because if you're using a Mac, because a part of this is it's called the lab test. And the lab test is actually where you have to have the program loaded and for you folks on a Mac, which by the way, so am I, but that doesn't even really matter, except to understand that when you come to the lab test, the Word one you can use on, because Mac has a version of Word, Mac has a version of Excel and PowerPoint, but they do not have a version of Access. So, what I do is I've recorded a video for any student taking 15 to know how to load something called VirtualBox. So, you can do this. You can run Windows on your Mac. You'll know more about that later. I just kind of want to give you the heads up. So, welcome to class. I'm releasing early. What do you need to do here? Let's end with that. So, what I want you to do on this first item here is when you start the assignment, I want you to tell me if you understand the compressed nature of this course. Do you understand the course materials and when you will need them? I talked about that. Do you have, an understanding of at least these 3 things? And the course layout, and I gave you this. But just I really the most important thing here is I want to make sure you understand the compressed nature of this course and what it means. And of course the course materials. I want you to know you need that week 1. So reply to this and you'll have a little text box, okay? And in here, answer the questions that I'm asking here so that I have and you and I are on the same page when you start this class, and then you can go to the next item and get started. Okay, thanks for being here. Thanks for choosing this class. I hope this is fun. I've had students tell me in the past they enjoyed the structure of this class, and I look forward to getting to know you, helping where I can. So I want to say let's get this party started, but maybe that's not appropriate, but maybe it is. Thanks for being here. Have a good one.